Yeah, what do we got? Let's see. 20 subscribers, 111 views. Oh, I wonder if we even I want to, before we get started, I want to go on Social Blade and see if we're even on there. It just says to be determined on Social Blade. It doesn't think that we've earned any money on this, which is fair. All right, yeah, I'm ready to rock. If you want to counter down. Oh gosh, I gotta find the notes. There we go. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Off the Cut, episode 19. Getting up there, which is respectfully dedicated to the food of the day, cookie dough. Oh yeah, baby, it's cookie dough. No, I should have got some in preparation for this, but I know up in Canada, today's better known as Tuesday, oh my gosh, it's almost July. June 21st, 2022. Oh my god, dude. I had my last Craig video, is due by the end of the month, and the girl from Craig emailed me this morning. She was like, "Hey, haven't heard anything from you about this video." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like it's done. Like everything's done. I just completely forgot to like give you all the assets that you need to like make the plans on like their website or whatever." But I mean, I finished it in like 20 minutes this morning. Yeah, but that was nice. That was nice. Cookie dough. Hit me on cookie dough. I've heard things. I've heard things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Were you the kid that like when your parents or grandparents were like baking or whatever, you'd always go in and like just dip your hand in the cookie dough and try to get after it? Oh, yeah. Yeah. But see, we grew up in the good times. We grew up in the 90s, right? So back in the ni oh, yeah, huge cookie dough era. And that was back in the day where foodborne illnesses like salmonella didn't exist. No, they did. They did. We just didn't care. Oh, yeah. Here's my question. I know nothing about kids, pregnancy, or the human body for that matter. I don't know how I'm still alive. But if soft cheese is so bad for pregnant people, then how come you and I can devour a whole plate of soft cheese on the reg and be quote unquote fine? Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, how much of this, and again, I know nothing about this, how much of this is just fear and panic versus logical reasoning and like statistically driven evidence? Oh, yeah. But you're gonna I hate to stop you. I just looked at the YouTube live stream, they say you don't have any audio. Okay, well, you fix that.
Fix this live. Here we go, boys. I'm back on the live stream. Apologies, apologies.
Okay.
Good thing you
So,
were
we're good, we're
watching though,
good.
because we would have gone the entire podcast without me, or I would have gone the entire podcast without me noticing. I'm so
I
sorry,
know.
everybody watching on the YouTube live stream.
Oh, I just got paid for something.
Oh,
Hey,
eBay.
I got another dollar.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Just $1?
$1.01 actually.
What for?
Corey.
Oh, he sent you
Corey Duvall sent me some
a
money, which by the way,
Venmo.
so yeah, so
Nice.
anybody who wasn't listening last week, I guess this is a plug for a lot of things. Not a plug to send me money on Venmo, but it's always appreciated.
Yeah.
Um so we did the live stream of the podcast. We do it on YouTube every week and it stays up on our YouTube channel. There's a link down in the description of the podcast show notes. But we have this like I guess what do you call it? The mid show, Zach?
I think the mid show is
Where
the perfect term.
where we end recording the podcast, but then we just have, several minutes of just BS dialogue before we take a bathroom break and then record the after show.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
I
a
guess
perfect
in the mid
description.
show, I had made some joke about, oh, if you want to support us, send me money on Venmo and like laughed about it. Dude, I've had several people send me
Oh,
money on
really?
Venmo, so I gotta give these people shout outs.
Yeah,
First,
do it.
we had Craig, and
hmm
then we gave Craig a shout out in the after show.
Yeah.
And then Corey just, Corey Duvall just jumped in with $1.01 to just to up everybody. And I had another random God, there's another one. I had another random one pop in like 4 days ago, sometime over the weekend from Beckett Smoltz Ulmer, and I guarantee I'm
Yeah.
saying that name wrong.
That's not a name I'm familiar with. Is that a patron?
Oh god. No.
Okay.
But Craig just did $1.02 and he
Oh
says,
no.
"Gotta be number 1."
Yeah. Well, this
Well,
could be an expensive game, but not for a while if you keep going up in 1 penny increments.
no, no, no. But I
uh,
mean, it's much appreciated. It's going towards sustaining me while I'm hemorrhaging money off of Instagram
Oh,
right now.
buddy, I know. I notice you're still not on. Every day I wake up. So this is my routine in the morning. I wake up. First of all, my cat comes and sits on my chest, and I scratch her chin for a
Oh
little bit,
yeah.
and she just sits
Cat
on my
stuff.
chest and purrs. Then I reach over for my phone, check the daily news, and then it's straight to Instagram, and I'm like, "Is Eric back on Instagram yet?" And every
Nope.
day, it's a fucking gut. Oh, damn it! I swore. Now,
There it is.
mark it as
Market
explicit.
explicit.
um, every day it's a gut punch, and I'm just disappointed that Instagram still hasn't fixed this issue for you. It's crazy.
Yeah, disappointed is the is words I think would describe it well,
Do you
to
have
be
any
candid.
meaningful updates that you want to share with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do
So
that.
I took a small like how do I say it? I'm just gonna go at it. This is a
Yeah.
terrible phrase. One of your suggestions was like, oh, go on Facebook and like use the support messenger thing or
Yes.
whatever, right?
Yep.
Well, I can't get on Facebook because they
Oh.
say like your linked account or whatever
Ugh.
the hell it is.
Yeah.
Your Facebook is linked to Instagram and Instagram's disabled. So for some reason you can't get on Facebook anymore.
Yeah. Okay. That
So
kind of makes sense in a.
so I was like, damn, how am I gonna do this thing that you're telling me to like
Mhm.
message them? Well, I had done tons of other research and apparently this is a large problem that's happened. It's a widespread issue that's happened in the last 3 to 4 months.
Oh,
Tons
really?
of people are facing this issue.
Really? Because I've
Yeah.
I've known that this has been an issue for a long time, but you think the volume has accelerated in the last little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I've done, like, Reddit research, forum research, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff, and there seems to be a quite a big explosion of people asking for solutions to this within the last several months or so.
Wow, I wonder
Um,
what that could have been caused by.
I don't know, but every it continues to go back to there are these back end links where you're supposed to like provide documentation. And
Yep.
they're like, we'll get back to you. They have not gotten back to me.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, I guess maybe part of the reason for that is this big increase in volume. If there's a lot of people who are also having this
potentially,
issue, maybe they have a big backlog right now.
it's definitely possible. But I
Yeah.
mean, it would at least be nice to get some sort of feedback, right?
I mean, and also, how long could it really take to sort this out? You know, you put a team of like Instagram's a big company. You put a team of like 5 people on it. You could probably bang through these things pretty quickly. Like looking at your account would be so easy to solve. It's like this guy has nothing to do with child trafficking. Like he just
Yeah.
posts woodworking content. Let's get him back up on the platform.
Yeah. And so then I'm like, so I'm continuing to do this research, and everybody's like, yeah, the only way you can message them or get any sort of human interaction was your suggestion, messaging them through the Facebook support.
Yeah,
Well, I'm like, well, how the hell do I do this?
yeah.
And so what people said is you can actually make like a new Facebook page.
Okay.
I had to sign up under my this email that I'm on now, the Eric at
Yep.
spencelydesignco.com, which is my like one that I shoot out like email blast from because it doesn't go spam because it's like a paid
Yeah.
branded email address and
Gotcha.
stuff. So I've never used that to sign up for Facebook. So I made a new Facebook account under that. And then the only way you can ever reach a human being on Facebook is you have to pay money to run an ad.
Yes. Yeah.
So, luckily, the bare minimum to unlock the support feature is $5.
Okay.
So I ran an ad. It was just a picture that I was like, "Boost this post."
Was it just like
For
you giving the thumbs up or something?
oh, I should have just given him the middle finger.
Well,
Um,
thankfully, our very generous listeners and watchers have now funded that $5 ad with their Venmo
yes,
contributions.
that's true.
Yeah,
So, genuinely, that's where that money's going.
yeah, yeah,
But so I finally got in because you have to wait like a couple days after you run the ad
yeah.
for like you have to wait for like the ad campaign to finish or whatever.
Oh, jeez.
And then once your debit card has been debited or whatever, then and only then do you have access to that support
Oh,
feature.
my lord, I am
So,
I'm laughing because it's just so ridiculous, not because of your misfortune.
yeah. So this was yesterday.
Hmm.
I finally got like debited for that. And I was like, great. I'm gonna go on there. I'm gonna message them. I'd already written out what I wanted to say so I didn't get pissed off.
Yeah, oh, smart.
We just tried to be just, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
I was like, all right, got it all typed up, dude. My blood's pumping, my heart's beating. I'm pissed off, nervous, excited all at the same time. Type out my little message or whatever, and then at the like submit button, it says email support. I'm like, oh, you've got to be
Oh,
effing kidding me, man.
so did you not get to talk to a real human being?
No,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think it is because yesterday was a holiday.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting.
And so I'm assuming that they were off yesterday, but
Yeah.
then I received an email this morning. Cash, wait, it was some, God, I got another one. Cash App requested
Ooh.
$2.01. I don't know what that means. I'll look at that later. I don't know what a Cash App is.
Cash App is the guy who made Twitter, Jack Dorsey. I think it's a Venmo competitor, but
Oh,
we don't have it here in Canada, so don't quote me on that.
I don't know. Sounds like a scam. So anyway, I fire out this email to Facebook support, and this looks like someone actually responded to the email, but there's definitely some like blocks of text that are, you know, auto generated. And it says,
Yes.
hi, hope this email finds you well. This is Jade with Meta Concierge Support. This is a reference to your case, blah, blah, blah. First of all, thank you for reaching out to us regarding your concern about disabled Instagram account. I understand how important it is for you and your business, so I'm happy to assist you further. That's automated.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
First of all, To set proper expectations, we are highly trained in Facebook advertising. And when it comes to Instagram related issues, we have limited support, but let me try to do my best to provide you with the best recommendation or resolution from our end.
Okay.
Eh,
Yeah,
okay.
not promising or like not super confidence
Yeah.
inspiring, but
It was a pleasure speaking with you over the phone earlier.
oh,
Huh?
ouch.
And as advised, upon careful checking on my end, I see the Instagram account Spencer Design Co. has been disabled for not following Instagram's community guidelines. If you think your account was disabled by mistake, you may be able to appeal the decision by the following steps below: opening the app, doing all that stuff that I can't get to,
Mm,
or submitting the link, which I've already done.
yep.
In any case, your Instagram account is currently connected to Facebook profile, so kindly use the steps below. I can't use my Facebook
Yeah.
profile. Um,
This is
if
the
you have not
one
set
of
up
the
two-factor authentication, blah 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 blah. We sincerely understand the urgency and importance of your request. Please know that your appeal will be reviewed thoroughly, so please give us 24 to 48 hours to fully investigate, and we will relay the updates to you directly via email and just a bunch of other nonsense. And so I
so
replied back with,
okay.
"Yeah, I did all that, and it's been several weeks and you still haven't replied. So what's the next step?"
Yeah. I would also reply that some of those steps are non functional. So, one of the
Yeah.
things that I realized the last time I had trouble with my Instagram account is that Meta has all these help articles and like this copy pasta
Sure.
stuff that they
Sure.
give to people. But a lot of it's outdated because the platform evolves and changes and they're constantly tweaking the UI and they're not
Absolutely.
updating their help articles in response to that. So I had an issue where they were like, you had to go to this page and you had to press this button, then you had to submit like this report. Well, I went to that page and that button just isn't there. So
Hmm.
yeah, so I would also fire back and say like, I would love to proceed with the process on my other Facebook account, but I can't because I can't log into like I would point stuff like that out
Oh,
to them.
that's
But
not a bad idea.
because they might not even be aware that you're locked out at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember when I actually got to do a live chat with a real human being. I'm going to say real human being in air quotes because it was really clear that I wasn't talking to a real person,
Yeah.
or it was like some sort of hybrid approach. So, like, I would say something and there'd be like that little thing would pop up, like, oh, somebody's typing. And
For
it would
half a second.
half a second, and then like three paragraphs of text would appear
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
would be borderline like nonsensical like in relation to what I had just said. Like it was like almost there. It's like, okay, so they have like a pre-done script and they're just like clicking a button to like copy
Yeah.
and paste this
Yeah.
many text. So I a few times I like got angry with the person. I was like I was
You're
like, are you
not
even
reading this.
yes, I was like, you're clearly not reading what I'm saying. Are you even a real human being? And I think after I did that a few times, it kind of clicked in that the person was like, okay, I actually had to pay attention to this
Sure. Sure. Sure.
one. So yeah, it's very
Well,
frustrating.
I mean, at least I have a way to contact support now.
Yep.
And
Yep.
if it doesn't get resolved through this email chain, I think the thing is you can only open up one support case at a time.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I might have to just mark this support case as it, like resolved, and then try to open up a new one where I'm live chatting or something like that. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, that might be worth. I would give this one like a day or something like that and see if they get back to you. But yeah, you got
It's
another Cash App hit right there.
no, that was Miranda. She
Oh,
was
okay.
telling me that she's running to the grocery store to get tortilla chips for taco night, baby.
Ooh, nice.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Sophie is at a workout class tonight, so I'm on my own for dinner. So it looks like it's leftovers
Okay.
for me.
Oof. You're not
Um,
not not cooking yourself, huh?
no. I might. We'll see. There's not much in the fridge though. I have this glass of ice water here because I set aside some ice because I wanted to have a brief and frank discussion with you over a nice glass of Canadian whiskey. But now the ice is melted, so
Uh-oh. You know what we could have a nice discussion about? New bubbly.
ooh, what is that? I
Mm.
don't recognize that flavor.
Oh, did you hear that?
I
What did
did.
it sound like?
I'm I'm trying to go based on the color. I'm not actually going based on the sound
Okay.
here.
So
I
for anybody listening, I'm gonna hold it up to the microphone. Can you tell what that is?
Is that one of the
It
caffeinated ones?
it's not.
Okay, okay.
So it is a teal can. So you can
Yeah.
play along with us at home while you're listening. It is a teal can.
Green
It
top, green
has
tab.
yeah, green tab, and it has yellow bubbles on it. So think.
It's got to be like some sort of citrus medley
You
again.
and the citrus medley. You're like,
Yeah.
everyone, is that citrus medley?
Every time, like, okay, if it were pink, red, and purple, I'd be like, oh, it's a berry medley. But because it's
Okay.
teal, yellow, and I saw a little bit of green there, I'm going citrus medley.
Okay. It is, hold on, coconut pineapple.
Oh, interesting. A little
It's a
fusion
new
action
one.
there. Okay.
It's not it's not bad.
Okay.
I don't think I'd buy it again.
Okay. I'm not a huge coconut guy, so I don't know if that would fly
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. I,
So I
I
have
saw it at the store and I had to get it though.
I have my bottle of whiskey here.
Ooh.
Yeah. So this is usually we save these for the after show, but I want to talk about something today. So this is Gotterham and Worts. It doesn't actually say what year it is anywhere on the bottle, so it can't actually be that nice. But hey, it's Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
So
So I think we need to make a cheers
yes.
because we've got a new patron this week.
Oh, we do have a new patron.
Yeah.
Or this is
Jessica Lopez.
our first female patron potentially.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
dig it.
awesome. Yeah, me too. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah. And I, I was actually going to try to come up with a story, tell you I knew Jessica, but I didn't have enough time to think of one.
She's not your dental hygienist.
No, no. I was gonna say that she was my attorney
Yeah.
and got me out of jail or something like something good like that, but I don't know. I didn't come up with anything.
Maybe we should do that. That should be a returning gag. Is anytime we get a new patron, we try and make up a story about how we know them.
That would it'd be tough. It'd
Yeah,
be tough, but maybe we can make it. I can make it happen.
we're not
All
very
right,
creative
Jessica, we owe
people.
you a story.
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
owe you a
make a
story.
note. Owe her a story. All
And
right. And
returning top tier
returning
patrons.
returning dude, are you drunk already?
Yeah, I have. It's just the smell of the whiskey.
It's not even the after show.
I know. I know.
Returning top tier patrons Corey Duvall and Scott Eastman at Eastie's Woodshop. And
And
patrons get access to the after show
mhm.
and a bunch of other cool stuff. But tonight,
Not this week, baby.
are
Well,
we doing it this week?
yeah, tonight, this week. I mean, they will still get access to it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so will everybody else.
Yeah. So we want to give everybody just a
Hmm.
little taste of the after show. I guess we can't keep it as spicy as we typically do because it'll
We'll dial it back like 10%, but
yeah,
we'll
we'll
still
do
get a
what we
little
can.
loose. We'll still get a little
Every
loose.
single person listening to this is going to get free access to the after show this week. So
One more time, Eric. How much?
free,
Yeah, how much does it cost?
free 99, free access to the after show. All you have to do is go to our Patreon, patreon.com/ off the cut podcast. It's linked down in the show notes. Scroll down to this is episode 19. So if you go to episode 19, you click on the after show, don't have to log in, nothing, don't pay for anything. You can check it out.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, sorry, I got seltzer burps.
No, that's okay. It comes with the territory. It's a
Hmm.
staple of the show at this point, really.
The seltzer burps.
Yeah.
The one where that'll be the episode title. The one where they get seltzer
Oh, and
burps.
that's actually the best part of the mid show that I feel like we should tell people about is that we try and discuss with the live stream the name of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
You got
So
anything?
yeah, well, I poured this glass of whiskey because I wanted to talk about something that I'm kind of annoyed about today.
You're airing a grievance.
I'm airing a grievance, so
Let's hear it.
that's what the whiskey's for. So today Canada passed a new law, Bill C11, where they are going to try to regulate social media. They're going to try to apply the same
Oh.
sets of law. So, okay, so for those of you who don't know, we have this Canadian content law in Canada where a certain percentage of what gets played on Canadian TV stations, Canadian radio stations, and I think I'm trying to think if there's any other form of media out there, but basically all media outlets have to play like 30% Canadian content.
Okay.
And so they're I think what the move they're trying to make is to apply those same rules to social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube is the big one that I've heard a lot about right now. Um so it's I don't know,
Oh,
it's kind of got me in a weird situation because there's a couple things that could potentially come from this. Nobody really knows how it's going to shake out just yet. But one of the main ones on YouTube is that I might have to certify that my content is Canadian, which is not the biggest deal in the world. It would be, maybe some bureaucratic hoops to jump through. I might have to
sure.
prove that my content is Canadian. That's kind of a minor grievance. The bigger issue at hand, though, is that it might affect how platforms like YouTube treat Canadian content makers.
Yeah.
Because what they're going to end up doing is they're going to have to change their algorithm such that Canadians who are on YouTube see more Canadian content, see 30% Canadian content. And at first blush, that kind of sounds like, oh, that might be a good thing for you, Zach. You basically, more Canadians on YouTube might be forced to at least see my thumbnails. It's unclear
Sure.
whether or not they'll actually make you watch it or not.
Yeah.
Uh, but what actually ends up happening is on YouTube, you don't want your content being seen by people who are not going to watch it, right? Because
Yeah.
that hurts your click through rate. That hurts your, watch duration. For people who don't know, YouTube is like aggressively meritocratic. Like your your promotion on the platform is dependent on the performance of your videos. So
Yes.
if your some thumbnail is being shown to a bunch of people who don't want to watch your content isn't going to get seen by people who do want to see it. What you want is the YouTube algorithm to laser focus your content into people who actually want to see it. So
Yeah.
by forcing people to see content, my content or any other Canadian content makers that doesn't want to see it, it's actually going to hurt our performance. And it also opens the door to how is YouTube going to respond to this law? Are they going to create some weird silo for Canadians like YouTube Canada
Yeah.
where we can only see other Canadian content creators? Like, how are they going to respond to this new law? Are they going to make a specific algorithm for Canadians? I don't necessarily think so. So I don't know, it's got me worried about the future of my business as a Canadian on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting, and I I had heard about this a while ago, but I hadn't investigated it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would be more concerned, well, I guess let's face it, the majority of people on YouTube are viewers, not creators,
Yes.
right? So from a
100%.
viewer aspect, I would have to imagine you're going to be pissed off about this
Yeah.
because if you Zach go on YouTube, I would have to imagine there's a lot of creators that you watch that are, outside of Canada.
Yep.
You're going to be artificially deflated. A bad way to say it. You're not going to see as much international content now.
Correct.
You're going
Correct.
to be kind of like herded into
It,
Canadian content.
exactly. You're going to be like siloed into this weird part of YouTube where like Canadians just see other Canadians.
Yeah.
And I don't know actually what your demographics look like, but I know that the majority of my audience does not live in Canada. I think on YouTube it's something really small. It's like maybe 5 to 10% of people
Yeah.
who watch my videos are Canadian. I have an equal number of people in the UK who watch my videos compared to
Mhm.
Canada. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously the majority of my audience is actually American. So
Yes, same.
yeah, so it's really got me worried about the future of what it looks like to be a Canadian content creator. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is that I can't find a single person who's in favor of this new law or regulation or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what the technical term is. It's
Viewer or creator.
viewer or creator. Yeah, it seems to have like broad disinterest from or like anti-interest. What's a good word for that? It's
Disinterest.
disinterest. It's not liked by either side of the aisle from what I can tell. It's not like, oh, the liberals are really for it, the conservatives are really against it. It's like nobody likes it regardless of their politics. So I can't really I don't know. I'm having trouble understanding how this law got to be to where it is.
Yeah, Wikipedia, which is a fantastic source for great information,
Yeah,
says that the the bill seeks to amend the Broadcasting Act to account for the increased prominence of internet video and digital media and prioritize the quote needs and interests of Canadians
yeah.
and the inclusion of involvement of Canadians in diverse backgrounds in broadcasting programming.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
so a lot of they've redrafted this bill several times, and they people keep saying, why don't you take the online content portion of it out? And they keep saying, well, you know what? We're not going to regulate YouTube. We're not going to regulate these
Yeah.
social medias, but they still included all of these, like all of this jargon in there such that the law could be applied to social media. And everybody said, well, why don't you make a carve out for it? Why don't we make a carve out for it? And the lawmakers have just said, no, we're not interested in doing that. So they kind of have this wishy-washy approach, like, oh, we might regulate YouTube, we might not, but we're definitely going to leave the verbiage in there that would allow us to.
It's just so weird.
It's very weird. And, frankly, as a Canadian made TV shows kind of suck. And a large portion of the reason for that is they don't have to try as hard. They know they don't have to compete with American programming because of this law in TV. So
Yeah.
you end up with these Canadian productions that know they're going to get 30% of the eyeballs just by virtue of being Canadian. And it really hurts the content, quite frankly. Like, yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of upset about it. I've been having a little bit
So
of a day.
whatever. So I guess what they say the benefit to creators will be is that you'll provide more visibility for creators who are not currently published or who are not currently pushed by platforms.
Yes. Which is, I would argue, is a disingenuous argument because Canadians disproportionately dominate YouTube. I mean,
Yeah,
I think relative to the size of the country, there are quite a few enormous Canadian content
for sure.
creators. Yeah, so I don't understand why they even feel the need to do this in the first place because as it is, I would say we're already overrepresented on platforms like YouTube.
Yeah, I remember the running joke in like 2019, 2020 on Instagram was, "You wanna know the fastest way to grow your Instagram account? Be Canadian."
Really?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Oh, yeah. You probably had never heard it because you were in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
It was a big running joke, but yeah, this
It's really
is
creepy. It's really
weird.
weird. I don't like it at all. I don't know. So, anyways, I wanted to just kind of like do my little piece to raise awareness of this. If you're a Canadian, write your local MP or whatever and tell them you're not a fan of this bill. I
What's
don't know.
funny is that Maker's Way just commented in the live stream, "What about shows like Schitt's Creek,
Yeah.
Letterkenny, Trailer Park Boys?" Like,
Oh, so you want to hear? Okay, so yes, those are actually good examples. I mean, Schitt's Creek is like kind of okay. I had this discussion with a friend
I
of
like
mine
that
earlier.
show.
Yeah, okay, it's kind of
Uh,
it's
Not my
nice.
favorite by any means.
Yeah, it's kind of like middle of the road. And so actually, a funny story about Letterkenny is that's actually my girlfriend used to work with a guy who that show was based on. A group of his friends actually made that show, and
Schitt's Creek?
no, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, okay.
Yeah, are you familiar with it? You probably like
Oh,
Letterkenny. Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
of
okay, okay.
course.
So it was like based on their childhood growing up. So one of the characters in the show is based on my girlfriend's old boss. Um,
Was it Wayne? Who is
I
it?
don't know. I've never actually seen the show, so I can't
Oh,
I
that's
can't
funny.
tell you.
That's funny.
Um, and so I was talking about this with my friend earlier. And those are good examples of Canadian shows that are quite good. And
Yeah.
but for every one of those shows, there's 10 that you won't see as an American. And they
Yeah.
just exist solely on Canadian TV because they know they have that built-in audience.
But and this is just conjecture. I have no numbers to base this off of.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that the US probably outputs substantially more TV shows and movies than Canada does,
Yeah,
volume-wise?
for sure. I
Okay.
mean, I think you do just based on having 10x our population, right?
Well, yeah,
Like,
that too, obviously,
yeah, like
right?
how could you not? I don't know if you looked at it like per capita wise. I would be interested. I think definitely like
Ooh,
Hollywood has the kind of the science down packed, right? So they're able to
yeah.
just crank out content at a rate that probably nobody else can compete with. Um,
Yeah?
and that's the thinking behind the Canadian content bill is like, as Canadians, we could never hope to compete with the Americans. But
Yeah.
I think what you can see from social media is that that's not the case. Like Canadians
No.
are perfectly competent when it comes to content creation as long as you get all the bureaucracy out of the way.
I I watch content from people all over the world. I know I follow a handful of Canadians, and I'm not just talking about woodworking because, like we've discussed,
Yeah.
it's not the majority of the content that I consume is not
Yeah.
woodworking. Um, I've got Canadians, I've gotten tons of people in Europe,
Hmm. Hmm.
a couple in Asia, one or two in Australia, and then like one or two in New Zealand. Like I'm all over the
Yep.
place with
Yep.
the people that I like that I can't off the top of my head think of that I enjoy consuming their content. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not all US.
One of the things I love so much about social media is that it's this big collection of people from all over the world, and you don't really have
Yeah.
to worry about who's from where. So I worry that, okay, so Canada does this now. It's like, okay, Canada exists on its own, but what if the US's response is to prioritize American creators over Canadian creators on YouTube?
It's a constant tug of war.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, do we really want to get in an arms race with every other country where they're just prioritizing their own creators? And then at the end of the day, everybody in every different country just sees content from their own country? That doesn't seem like an ideal world to me.
But so is this gonna work where like you go youtube.com and then what shows up on your homepage, is that gonna be the stuff that's pushed to you? Or like if you search like
Well,
whatever.
that's a great question. And it's kind of left up to interpretation at this point, right?
Ooh, see now that's scary.
Yeah, like what if you're trying to like search for like how do I change the oil in my car? And there's a great American video about how to do it that explains it super quickly. And then there's a really crappy Canadian one. Does the Canadian one go to the top of the search results just because you're Canadian and then you end up with inferior information?
I don't know.
Yeah, and nobody knows really because it's kind of now there's this negotiation that has to happen between the Canadian government, whoever's job it is to regulate this, and then the engineers at YouTube. And what
I
happens
mean,
if
there's what sucks, and I hate this answer. There's nothing we can really do about it. You
no,
know what I
there's not.
mean?
Well, I mean, there is
Within limits, right?
yeah, there is a certain extent. I mean, if it gets bad enough, do I just pack my bags and move down to the US? Like I mean, at the end of the day, like I have a business to look out for, and
Yeah.
if things are going well in a year or two, and it's paying all my bills, and this bill does something to disrupt that, do I think I would have to honestly think pretty hard about leaving?
Yeah, I mean, because you're like me where if you maybe could count this as your full-time income,
Yeah,
but you would be extremely limited on your budget.
yeah,
But I could live off of it,
yeah,
but it would be lifestyle would be drastically changed,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so it's like you have the ability because you and I both have other jobs that like if it takes a little dip, like you're okay.
hmm
But like what if you didn't have that
yeah.
backup and this just took a massive hit?
What if I was a full-time creator? What if I had a, channel that had 2 million subscribers and it was the only thing I did, and then all of a sudden this law overnight basically makes all that hard work null and void?
Or if you had a team of employees.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like I have, I have a team of like freelancers that I use. They're not
Sure,
full-time
sure.
employees, but I would
Still
like
pay
to.
them.
Yeah, exactly. So I would like to keep employing those people, and but this kind of jeopardizes that to a certain degree.
Yeah, dude, you keep me updated on this because I
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
know what happens. I mean, we've had this whole, and I'm not very well versed on it. This whole argument about like the net neutrality, where they want to make
yeah.
like, was it like the government basically? It becomes like the internet becomes like an asset of the government or something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of like a public utility almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
I don't know. All that stuff is it sounds good. Like I want to give the lawmakers the benefit of the doubt. I want to say that their intentions are good, but they just don't understand the technology.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to do that when I'm looking at I'm looking online and every single person I can find. I actively tried to search for somebody who's in support of this bill, and I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
Everybody
because you're
seems
trying to gain knowledge on both sides
yeah,
so you can be
exactly.
educated.
Yeah, exactly. But I couldn't find anybody who was in support of it other than these like old legacy media companies.
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys have like a what we call PBS or public
yes.
broadcasting something? Do you have
Yeah.
that?
Yes, we do. And that's one of the biggest groups that I see benefiting from a law like this.
Yeah.
Is
But like
because
here, like no one watches PBS.
yeah. Yeah.
PBS is like the equivalent of watching like we have like televised, they call it C-SPAN,
Yeah.
where they like televise like government hearings
Yeah.
on TV. Like
Yeah.
who is watching that?
I know. I know. I know.
Like PBS, like as a kid, they'd have like, cartoons like we had like Arthur and like stuff like that on
I think
PBS. But
PBS's demographics are probably like 0 to 5 and then 65 to, 100. Those are their key
yeah.
demos.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, keep me updated.
Yes, I will. I
Do
will.
uh do we still have questions left over from the Instagram thing?
Oh, if we do, I would have to pull them up. So if you got some
Okay,
ready
I'll
to
hit
go.
my own
Oh,
questions
I
then.
will say real quick though, I got a very nice message from I'm trying to pull up his name here real quick. Oh no.
All right, well, you look it up.
Okay, yes, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
get one question while you dig in.
Okay, perfect.
Again, I'm not gonna read these because that's what screws us up. We're not getting a segue. Here we go. Just not even reading it. Colvin 1005. Other people might call that 1005, but I'm saying 1005. How do you know what is necessary versus what is nice to have when setting up your shop?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, anything that's not you is nice to have, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's just varying degrees of nice to have.
Yes. No, I 100% agree with this. I mean, you could make the argument that a electric random orbital sander is a nice to have
Yeah,
because
you could
you
polish
could just use sandpaper.
exactly, exactly, and like a miter saw is a nice to have because you can make cross
No, it's
cuts on
not.
your table saw.
Sure, sure.
So
No,
it's
yeah.
but it is all or at the end of the day you could use a handsaw.
Or just
um
use a chisel to cut something.
so I think if I could rework this question a little bit, I would maybe like how do you evaluate which tools are the most important to you?
I think that's a great way to say it because necessary versus nice to have, I think, is highly, highly like personal,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I like the idea of trying to evaluate what makes a tool
Like
maybe like
worth it
worth
versus
the money.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean for me personally, I just think about like where am I spending the most time and where are my pain points
Sure.
when I'm working on something? And is there something that I can get that will help with that? Is there something I can
Sure.
get that will save me time or save me pain?
Absolutely.
And the more the better a tool is at saving me time or the better it is at saving me pain, then the more it moves towards that necessary. If it's two ends of the spectrum, there's necessary over here and then there's what's the other one? Nice to have.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
more
yeah.
time and the more pain it saves me, the closer it gets to necessary.
So here's an example I think we can both speak on.
Hmm.
Sanders.
Yeah.
if someone's getting started in woodworking and my suggestion, obviously this isn't my suggestion, and I go, "Oh yeah, you need a sander. Go out buy this Festool or Merco one," and they go, "Yeah, I'm not buying a $600 sander." Like in that case, that is 100% not necessary to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you
Only when you get to the point where you're like, "Oh my gosh, sanding is just I'm hemorrhaging time on this. It's so obnoxious. I will
exactly.
do anything to speed up this process."
Yes.
Then a $600 sander that does everything faster, easier, more efficient with less dust, I'd buy that all day, every day.
For sure, for sure. And that's you kind of have to make that evaluation based on your own use case, what you're building, and like you always say, oh, what's going on with my phone here?
What's going on? Is that Sophie?
No, I
Or is
think
that Siri?
I think it was the Google Assistant thing. I just
Oh.
activated that accidentally. Um, oh no, I've completely lost my train of thought. I'm pretty sure I was praising you and your wisdom now.
No, I was saying how, like, you buy a more expensive sander because you get to the point where it saves you tons of time and it's so obnoxious, everything's more efficient that my right now, my time doing all this content stuff with still having a day job, like, my time is one of the most important resources I
Yeah.
have.
Well, even if you were just running a normal woodworking business, your time would still be the most important resource because that's always going to be your constraint at the end of the day, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So,
But as, like, a hobbyist, going to the sander example, if you're just,
right.
putting stuff and this isn't to be talk down on people that are hobbyists, like, that's great, that's how we started doing this
Yeah.
stuff, right? Um, you don't need if you don't have the money, you don't need to buy a $600 sander because how often are you really sanding stuff? Like, maybe once a month?
Yep.
And I think that's generous. Like,
Yeah.
no, go buy a $50, $100 sander, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, again, I would just think about how you evaluate. I'm trying to think if there are a couple tools that I would like consider like absolutely necessary.
Ooh,
Uh,
like it's something expensive.
no, I just like what would I just to answer the original question, what would I need? Like I don't think I could live without a table saw. I
Agreed.
probably if I had to, I could live without a miter saw. It would be painful, but I could do it. Definitely need a drill.
For sure.
Sander, yes, because I'm not gonna hand sand everything. It
No.
doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it would be that would be key. And of course, a CNC with a 4 foot by 4 foot bed, and then boom, you're
Oh,
done.
absolutely. You're done. No, I would say some sort of dust collection. And I mean,
Yeah.
even if you just want to go pick up a $40, $50 shop vac,
Yep.
anything, because like I remember the first time I turned on a table saw that was like one that I owned myself. I just like ripped a piece of wood through it, and then it was just like this big
Clap.
cloud of sawdust just shooting out the back, and I'm like, "Huh, well,
Oh,
got to do something about this."
yeah. Yeah. This is not going to work long term.
No.
It's amazing how much dust a saw or even a miter saw. I was actually so I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I want to do a video where I compare like different dust collection systems for miter saws. So I actually sat
Oh.
down today and like wrote an outline for the video of that. And so I think I'm going to do that sometime in the next couple of weeks. Just get like
So
go on Amazon, get like a bunch of different dust collection systems for miter saws and then create like a shootout for and like, I'll have a little system where I can like measure how much dust they collect and how much they don't.
yeah, that
And
would be my only suggestion is when you ever start getting comparisons on people, people get super scientific and want all these like hard,
yeah,
statistically driven
yeah.
and quantitative measurements like, oh, this has 113 grams of dust produced, it's like
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Well,
right?
I thought of a pretty simple way that I could test that, so I'm actually kind of excited to because I've never done like a little
Okay.
scientific video like that before, so I'm kind of
I
excited to
think
do
that'll be
that.
cool.
Yeah, yeah,
So, so let me guess, you're gonna have nothing hooked up to it.
yeah,
You're gonna have like that little shitty bag
yes,
that comes with the
yes,
miter toss is
yeah,
useless.
yeah,
You're gonna have, like, that big, like, hood thing that goes around it.
yeah,
Um, maybe, like, 3D print or something, some sort of, like,
So
collection
there's a
mechanism?
guy on YouTube, and I want to shout him out real quick. I think it's Shop Nation is the name of
Oh, yeah,
his channel.
Travis.
Yeah, so I actually messaged him today because he makes all of yeah, it's Shop Nation, yeah. So he makes all of these 3D printed dust collection systems for
Yeah.
miter saws. And I said I he only has them right now for Rigid and I think Delta.
It's that really, really crappy miter saw that I have.
Yeah, the orange brand that nobody likes.
Yeah.
So he has a like 3D printed system that clicks right into that. And so
Yeah.
I messaged him. I said, "Hey, is there any chance you maybe have a prototype of one of these for the Bosch saw? Because I would
Yeah.
love to include it in my shootout." So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to the effort of if he doesn't have one, I'm not going to go to the effort of like designing my own just to do the
Have you
video.
looked on, like, Etsy or anything?
I've been poking around. I've been poking around. Haven't found anything yet, but hey, if any viewers are listening to this and they know of any for the Bosch, what's it called, the Active Glide or the
Something like that.
it's the popular Bosch miter saw. If you know of a good dust collection for it, hit me up on Instagram or on Patreon or wherever. I would gladly take any suggestions.
I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
'Cause
going to do. Sorry, I'm going to do
no, 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 you're good.
the bag. Obviously you said I'm going to do just dust collection straight into the bag port. I'm going to talk about modifying the scoop. So a lot of guys what they'll do is they'll like cut pieces of rubber and glue them to the scoop on the back of your saw, like the existing one that comes from the factory, and just
Yeah.
make it bigger. There's this product called the Big Gulp, which is essentially just
Oh,
it's like a big hood that sucks. You like attach it to a big hose and your dust extractor. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do the tent that goes around it, and then I'm also gonna do, making a box with a dust extractor connected to it that goes around your
okay.
miter saw.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting.
yeah, yeah. And I'll do the whole scientific thing. I'll collect all the dust. I'll weigh it. I'll see, which one works the best.
Just watch you do this, and you're the highest rated one only gives you, like, 10% dust collection.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I know. So it's probably gonna be horrible. But the thing is, like, just I might not necessarily do the best one. Like, I suspect those tents that go around your miter saw are probably pretty good, but at the same time, I don't want a tent around my miter saw. Like, that's kind of ridiculous, right? So it'll be interesting to see is that if that's 10% better than just using like a hose, then I'll just use a hose because I don't want the big tent.
Mhm. The tent's an eyesore. No, be honest, no one wants that tent.
Nobody wants a tent. It's funny. I was in a shop on I guess Monday this yesterday, I guess. Anyways, I was in somebody else's shop and they had that tent. I was like, "Oh, do you
I'm
like
like,
that thing?" They were like,
"What
"Yeah,
the
it's
hell?"
okay."
I honestly I would never use it. Like, if that was my setup for the miter saw, I'd be like, "F this, I'm not looking at this."
The tent, unless the tent is like perfectly dustless, I don't think it's going to get my stamp of approval.
No, no.
Well, that's just my
So,
bias, though. We'll see.
I watched a little bit of Travis's video on Shop Nation, and he modeled that 3D printed thing off of the Festool Capex.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So the idea
Oh,
was that it, like, creates this, like, sleeve that kinda, like, goes around the blade.
yeah, yeah,
Because I know the Festool Capex is the world's most expensive miter saw that we're
yeah.
aware of, but their whole claim to fame is that it's got, like, super, super good dust collection on it.
Really? Okay, hold on. I gotta look up the Festool Capex right
Yeah.
now.
So American, I think it's like 14 or $1,600 US, but it has this like rubber, almost like C-shaped sleeve that like kind of comes down around the blade and like really encapsulates a lot of the blade by that little rubber piece.
I'm looking at the photos of it right now, and I would say the Travis's is quite a bit better than what the Capex has because the Capex is attached behind the blade, whereas his is attached to the base of the miter saw.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I wish I could kind of throw this up for the live stream right now to see,
I
but
know.
it's
Just
yeah,
just buy a Capex, expense it out.
yeah, true. It's a tax write off. Everybody's writing
And
it off.
just write it off, baby.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm genuinely curious to see like what the best one is. So I feel like it'll make for good content.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we got a Josh Tintner. What
Are
is
you saying that right?
I am
Okay.
Tintner.
Tintner. Oh, yeah. What did we say before? Oh my god, now I can't even remember.
Tinter.
Tinter. Yes, yes,
There's
yes,
an
yes.
extra N in there that he politely corrected me with.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
A lot of commas in this one. What is, in your opinion, your biggest win slash success in your journey to take this content business, whatever, woodworking full time? So,
Mm,
like, what has been the one thing? Let's maybe phrase it like, what thing has been like the biggest stepping stone where you're like, oh man, like I might be able to do this.
yeah, that's a great question. Do you have a answer on the top of your head?
So I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is partnering up with brands that are looking to do long-term commitments.
I, I was gonna say the same thing.
Not like so you and I both we both get approached by brands who are like, "Hey, we want you to do one video, one Instagram post, one Instagram story, one TikTok video for this, and then you will never ever hear from these brands ever again in your life."
So true.
You can get, decent bucket of cash from those, but you never know when those opportunities are going to show up.
Mhm.
You can't look for them. They just
Yes.
look at your email one day and you go, "Huh, I got one."
Yeah. Like, oh, that'll
That's
be nice.
truly how it works.
It's yeah, it's true. But the long term contracts you get, like the one I did with Skillshare, they were like, we want to do something across 6 months. I was like,
Sure.
okay, good. Like that kind of gave me the flexibility to be like, okay, I would really like to hire a video editor
Yeah,
because I know my next 6 YouTube videos that I make are going to make X amount of dollars, so I
sure.
have like dependable cash flow, and it allowed me to expand in like a way that was really beneficial for me. I think so. Yeah,
Absolutely.
those long term contracts are the best as far as I'm concerned.
And you and I both watch YouTube, we know that brands like Skillshare, Squarespace, all those, they are not just coming in for one ad. They have been on the platform for years. So you know that if you can have a decent impression, not with the brand because you're not dealing with brand, with the PR agency that handles that, you're going to be in good favor with them, and you'll be able to foster that relationship long term.
Totally,
You know
totally.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so
So
yeah, brands for sure.
yeah, I
Uh,
think also there's been a couple points in my career where like I've been sponsored by Home Depot to do a video or
sure.
Lowe's and things like that where you can like kind of like say to people you know like hey oh like Lowe's is sponsoring my Home Depot or is sponsoring my video or Home Depot is sponsoring my
Yeah,
video and people actually like know the brands that you're talking about. It's not
legitimizes
just
you.
yeah, exactly. It's like I could say that to like my girlfriend's parents and they'd be like oh that's really cool. Whereas you're like, oh, like, not to throw any shade, like I love Inventables. I've been working with them recently, but
Yeah.
people who are not in woodworking don't know who Inventables is,
Yeah,
right?
like if I told my mom, "Hey, I got sponsored by Inventables," she'd go, "Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's
cool.
nice, honey.
Will you put the forks on the table, please?"
Exactly, exactly, right? So,
It's like, and I feel like when you get some sort of brand or sponsor that's like a name like that, you not in a selfish way, but you kind of look at yourself and you go, "Huh, cool. Somebody thinks I'm worth this." Like
yeah, yeah,
I get myself kind of propped up and like I feel legitimized. Not that you shouldn't feel legitimized if you don't have a brand sponsor, but it definitely does,
yeah.
give you a little ego boost for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, let's for anybody listening at home, I have the world's lowest self-esteem. So when something like that happens for me, I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I'm a real human being who's
Right on. Right
yeah,
on. Yeah.
exactly.
And I'm trying to think of something other than brands. Biggest win success to take this full time. I would say for me, like with my plans and my website sales and stuff, it's gone on like it started off where I wasn't selling anything
Hmm.
for the longest period of time. I just kept putting stuff out, kept putting stuff out. Nothing was selling.
Yeah,
And now, I mean, that's slowly gone up, and I
yeah.
can pretty steadily count on several $100s a month from just like website and plan sales stuff.
That's
It's
awesome.
like that's pretty cool too,
Yep.
because it's. I don't really touch it. I just leave the stuff on there, and it's just kind of perpetual income, which is nice, but
Well, and I think
not living off that.
that goes back to what you're saying before about those long-term things. It's once you
Yeah.
start like accumulating consistency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as long as at a certain point you're like, okay, like I know I can count on X dollars a month. You're like, okay, well, now this is starting to become something that's a little bit more dependable. It's something that I can plan around and thus I can grow my business. So that always feels like a big milestone to me.
Yeah. And even if you aren't doing content, let's say take content off the table, and then we're
Yeah.
just talking about woodworking. Like you're going to start out, making cutting boards, furniture, whatever. No one's ever going to buy any of your stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually, you'll have like one person that buys a piece, and you're going to be like, fireworks are going off in your head. This is the greatest day of your life, right? And then eventually that person's going to tell somebody else, or you're going to market yourself to someone else. And you're going to take all these super, super teeny tiny baby steps that all add up.
Yeah. It's like when you go to a restaurant and they have like the first dollar they ever got like
Exactly.
pinned to the wall. There's all these little steps. And there's been moments in content creation like outside of brands and monetary things like just number I know it's like it's kind of ridiculous, but like when I
Sure.
hit like 10,000 followers on Instagram, that felt
Sure.
like a big thing to me.
Well,
And
back in the day on Instagram when you hit 10,000 followers, you then and only then unlock that elusive uh swipe up linking in
yeah,
stories.
there was
Not
like
that anybody ever clicks those.
and I think you could then make like a creator account, which was
Mhm.
functionally the exact same as a business account, but
Yeah.
there were like all these little things, and it's like, okay, it's like that's yeah, it's something. It's a little milestone on the road.
But at the same time as having like these little, you know, steps that you're like, man, this is a big success. Let's face it, you also have steps that you're like, "Wah, wah," like this is a huge downfall.
Oh, totally.
But we're at an hour,
Oh,
and I think we should shift gears to the after show. But
okay.
before you turn off your podcasting app because you think we're done, this week everyone listening gets free access to the after show. So just click the link down in the show notes, patreon.com/slash off the cut podcast. Scroll down on that page to episode 19, and you can listen to the after show for free this week. Everyone's invited.
I like it. I
You got
like it.
anything else for the people?
No, I mean, just thank you for listening. If you'd like to support the podcast when you're at Patreon, checking out the bonus after show episode, consider supporting us. We would appreciate it. And also, you can send Eric cash directly on Venmo. He loves
So
that.
plug your Venmo this week.
I don't have Venmo. There's no Venmo in
Oh,
Canada.
I forgot about that. Yeah, copious amounts. I told you I did get enough support to pay for that Facebook
I know it's awesome.
ad thing. So
Yeah,
genuinely, I appreciate it, guys
yeah, it's
and
great.
girls, everybody there. So we're gonna head over to the after show, and we will see you over there again. Patreon.com/slash off the cut podcast. It's free this week. Check it out. Tell your friends. You don't even have to log in. I think you just go on there and just press play.
Perfect.
Sweet. All right, everybody. We will see you over at the after show and next week as well. We'll see
See you,
you
everybody.
there next week. Bye.
All
All
right,
right,
I'll
we made
probably
it.
that'll be one of those episodes where I cut a lot of the time I cut the last little bit of
Oh
dialogue
yeah.
out of my dialogue out of it because I'm always stepping on you when we go to end it.
I
Um,
didn't end my audio. Okay, now I'm good.
okay,
Export
so
as audio.
now the real question is how are we going to handle the YouTube live stream? Because this is normally when we have our bathroom break.
I think we just keep the live stream on and we'll have a quick 30, 45-second lull.
Okay, okay.